FT-28, this is Fort Lauderdale.
Do you read me?
FT-28 to Fort Lauderdale, do you have a fix yet?
Somewhere between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, ships vanish without a trace. Planes disappear mid-transmission. Crews are never found, and wreckage never surfaces. For more than 70 years, the world has called this place cursed, a graveyard at sea, a hole in the fabric of reality where the normal rules simply do not apply. Scientists struggled to explain it. Governments could not contain it, and the ocean gave nothing back. But while the world was busy fearing the Bermuda Triangle, something was sitting quietly on the floor of the ocean, thousands of miles away, off the western coast of Cuba, that nobody expected to find. In 2001, a deep-sea survey team descended 700 meters into total darkness. What their cameras captured has never been fully explained. Large flat surfaces, straight edges, geometric patterns stretching across an area the size of a city, sitting in complete darkness on the ocean floor, untouched and unexcavated to this day. By the end of this journey, you will understand what the Bermuda Triangle actually is, what science has confirmed about why things disappear there, and what that discovery off Cuba could mean for everything we think we know about human history. Start with the fear, because without the fear, none of this makes sense. It is December 1945. 5 United States Navy torpedo bombers take off from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, on a routine training flight. 14 experienced men. Clear weather, a straightforward mission over open water. They never come back. Not the planes, not the crew, not a single piece of wreckage, nothing that could tell investigators what went wrong or where it happened. The rescue aircraft sent to find them also disappears. 27 men total, swallowed by the same stretch of ocean, as if the sea simply opened up and decided to keep them. That incident, the disappearance of Flight 19, became the founding myth of the Bermuda Triangle. And it was only the beginning. In the decades that followed, the list of vanishings grew into something that felt impossible to dismiss. The USS Cyclops, a cargo ship carrying 309 people, disappeared without a trace in 1918. No distress call, no wreckage, no survivors. By the 1970s, the Bermuda Triangle had become one of the most feared stretches of water on Earth. Theories multiplied: magnetic anomalies, time warps, and energy fields from sunken civilizations. But here is something those documentaries never told you. The fear was built on stories, and the stories did not always match the facts. Lloyd's of London is the oldest and most respected insurance market in the world. When ships travel through dangerous waters, the premium goes up. That is how insurance works. And Lloyd's does not make exceptions. Yet Lloyd's of London charges no additional premium for voyages through the Bermuda Triangle. That single fact tells you more than 100 documentaries ever could. In 2013, the World Wildlife Fund identified the 10 most dangerous waterways for shipping on Earth. The Bermuda Triangle did not even make the list. A researcher named Larry Kusher spent years going back through every documented disappearance. He cross-referenced original records, Coast Guard reports, and official investigations going back decades. What he found was systematic exaggeration. Many incidents said to have occurred inside the triangle happened well outside its boundaries. Others were simply fabricated. Ships reported as vanished without a trace had, in several cases, simply sunk in storms. But the storms were deliberately left out, because storms are not mysterious enough to sell books. The myth was not built from evidence. It was built from a mission. But here is where it gets more interesting. While the supernatural explanation is a myth, the physical conditions in those waters are genuinely, measurably dangerous. The Gulf Stream is one of the most powerful ocean currents on Earth. It flows through the heart of the triangle at speeds of up to 8 feet per second. When a ship sinks, the current immediately begins moving the wreckage. By the time search crews arrive, debris can already be 50 miles from the point of sinking. The evidence vanishes. The ship did not sink mysteriously. The ocean simply moved the evidence before anyone could find it. Beneath that same seafloor lies one of the world's largest deposits of methane hydrates, natural gas locked inside ice-like structures. When these deposits are destabilized by earthquakes or pressure shifts, they go without warning. When a methane eruption rises, it dramatically reduces the density of the water. A ship caught above such an eruption finds itself floating on something that can no longer support its weight. It does not slowly sink. It drops in seconds, with no time to send a distress call and no wreckage left floating on the surface. And then there are rogue waves. For centuries, science dismissed accounts of waves tall enough to swallow vessels whole as mere exaggeration. Then, in 1995, instruments off the coast of Norway recorded a single wave measuring 85 feet in seas that were averaging only 39 feet. One wave, more than twice the height of everything around it. A rogue wave can capsize a large vessel so quickly that no signal is ever sent. The ship is simply gone. So the disappearances are real. The mechanisms are real. What is not real is the supernatural explanation. And now, with that foundation in place, we need to go somewhere else entirely, deep into the ocean off Cuba's western coast, where something was waiting that nobody had any reason to expect. In the early 2000s, a Canadian engineering company was sweeping the seabed with modern sonar to locate sunken Spanish shipwrecks. This was a business project run by engineers who trusted data, not stories. The expedition was led by Paulina Zalitsky, a Russian-born ocean engineer and a scientist who trusted instruments above everything else. For weeks, the team found nothing unusual: mud, broken rock, unremarkable terrain. And then the screen changed. Long, straight lines, right angles, repeating patterns that held their position no matter which angle the ship approached from. Then they noticed the shadows. Shadows only appear in sonar imagery when something rises above the ground. What they were looking at was not flat debris. It was upright, structured, sitting 700 meters below the surface, where no sunlight had ever reached. The remotely operated vehicle was lowered into the water, a deep-sea robot designed for extreme pressure. For the first few hundred meters, light still filtered from above. Then, the light began to fade. Then it disappeared entirely. At 700 meters, the seafloor came into view, and what appeared was not the uneven ground the team expected. Large flat surfaces filled the frame, massive blocks placed close together with smooth faces and sharp corners, some stacked, some arranged in patterns stretching across an area the size of a city. Some structures appeared as wide as 400 meters and as tall as 40 meters. Zalitsky herself called it a truly remarkable structure that looked like it could have been a large urban center. But she added a warning. She said it would be totally irresponsible to say what it was before they had more evidence. The ocean floor holds more of our past than our history books account for, and the only way to find out what is down there is to go back. If this made you think differently about what we know and what we do not, drop a comment below. Do you think those structures were shaped by nature or by something else entirely? If you found this valuable, hit the like button. And if you want to keep going deeper into the questions that science has not fully closed, subscribe. There is a lot more waiting to be found. See you in the next one.